What's going on, people? Gunsblazing back at it again, and looking at Duel Link's Steam numbers, it is currently in shambles. It was peaking at around 12,000 concurrent players back in January, daily before Master Duel released, but after Master Duel's release, it is now less than half of that, almost 1/3 even. And compare this to Master Duel's Steam numbers, where after the release hype died down a bit, it is now chilling at around 110k concurrent users. Now obviously, this doesn't show the full picture because Duel Links is predominantly a mobile game, so we'd have to consider the Play Store numbers as well, but regardless, it's still a pretty big hit. Also seems that Master Duel has a far bigger potential audience, bigger than I ever expected, which has contributed to the recovering success of this channel, as well as other Yu-Gi-Oh channels. But the reason I can't get back into Duel Links is not because the player base is in shambles, but for other reasons. And the biggest one would have to be that Master Duel format just has a far higher skill ceiling, which makes it a lot more challenging and rewarding at the same time. You know, when it comes to picking up new decks, learning them, and learning all the little combos and intricacies within a deck. Mastering a deck on Master Duel just takes a lot more time than it does on Duel Links, and that's a good thing. Now, I know that this format was already available to me via third-party simulators, but it wasn't until Master Duel came out that I could really appreciate this because no simulator comes close to Master Duel's polish. But anyways, compare Master Duel to Duel Links in the sense that when you build decks, in Duel Links you only have 20 cards in your deck. And you can pretty much learn what the deck does in like an hour, and then within less than a day, you pretty much know all the combos behind it, which led to some very shallow and repetitive gameplay. It's fun for a while and it was nice as a beginner, but now that I've had a taste of the main format, it's really tough going backwards and playing a game that's a lot more simple. It feels like Duel Links was just a tutorial. And I don't know if you played RuneScape before, but imagine like playing in the main world for a bit and then having to go back to Tutorial Island. That's what Duel Links feels like now to me, but I'm not hating on anyone that enjoys Duel Links still. Duel Links still does have its fun aspects, and Master Duel format is really just not for everybody. Some people really can't get into it because it's too new, it's too complicated for them, and I can't blame them. It's a big jump, but you know, there's some things in Duel Links I will always prefer over to Master Duel's format, but personally, I think it's time for me to move on. I also think it's not a far cry to expect Konami to maybe one day absorb Duel Links into Master Duel, or at the very least add the Speed Duel format as a format in Master Duel as well, because this format does have its own appeal. You know, skills were a really enjoyable part of Duel Links, and it gave the game a lot of personality. Also makes me wonder the possibility of like a skills format, but it has 5 zones, although that's probably not gonna happen. But another reason I can't really get back into Duel Links is because Master Duel is just clean as hell, man. Like the graphics, the sounds, everything. It's a great package and it feels like the next generation. Oh, and here's another big reason. In Master Duel, right, pretty much all of the decks are available from the get-go. Of course, it's a bit behind the actual TCG, OCG, but in contrast to Duel Links, you don't have to keep buying the new set. And updates, well, as far as we've seen, they're fewer in between. Like, that's one of the biggest tilters for me in Duel Links, is that you had to keep buying a new box every 2 weeks. And the power creep was just heavy as fook, man. In Master Duel, it's gonna be a lot less affected by power creep. I'm not saying that power creep is totally eliminated, but at the very least, you don't have to worry that after playing your deck for a week or two, it's gonna be completely invalidated by the next release. Which reminds me, yet another big thing going from Duel Links to Master Duel, is that on Master Duel, you can just hop on and duel, man. I don't know if you remembered back in Duel Links where you would just log in and you'd get hit by all of these text boxes and events. Like, yeah, events are cute and everything, but I just want to hop on into ranked. And also the fact that some skills, some cards were locked behind events, so you'd actually have to play some PvE before you could bring those stuff into PvP. I love Master Duel for the fact that everything is craftable, everything is accessible, and I don't have to click on like 50 different text boxes every time I log in. Anyways, here's a heat we got for today. It's just the Magical Musketeer deck. We've just included a small Amazement package. Arlekino synergizes pretty good with this deck. It does give the deck a little bit more oomph, a little bit more attack points, and an extra floodgate. I'm only using one Amazement trap though, Horror House. Hopefully auto-translate doesn't read that as something else and then demonetize me, but I've just been playing around with this archetype a lot because it's fun. It's just super hard to make it work because it's so bricky though. Like when this deck pops off, it really pops off and it just shuts the opponent completely down. Like you keep negating their stuff and destroying their stuff and then replenishing your resources. Can even take on some of the top tier decks given the right conditions, but obviously that's not going to be consistent. Overall, I would only really recommend this deck as a fun archetype. Not really something I'd pick up on a main account, maybe like make a new Steam account for this one if you want to try it. It'll get you some nice games going from, you know, all the way up to Plat 5, but then after Plat 5, you're just gonna get rolled, I think. But as always, deck list is in the description, and the NSFW version of this deck is on my OnlyFans. But anyways, as for today's question that I want to ask you guys, out of the subscribers and or regular viewers, how many of you are from Duel Links? And if you are, do you still play Duel Links? Or have you moved on to full Master Duel? Let me know in the comments, thanks. Anyways, just a couple of replays for you. This guy Max sees my Pot of Desires. Good thing this deck doesn't special summon a lot. So that's one thing you have to look forward to when playing this deck. You don't have to worry about Max C as much. And as long as you can get a good start to get yourself rolling, as in like a couple nice monsters with a couple of traps in the hand, you can just keep negating everything your opponent does and destroying everything they summon. Get a nice last stand here on the Lightning Storm. The deck's really slow at killing unless you have like your Arlekino out. I could have pushed for an access code here, but I don't think it's even enough. But at least we can sit on a Zeus and have all these nice juicy hand traps to follow up. In the next one, Arlekino comes through, so I can finally show you what he brings to the table for us. The opponent is playing some kind of FTK variation of Exodia. Good thing we have Effect Veiler here. And we've got a nice mix of monsters and traps in the hand. And we've also picked up Arlekino in our draw. After you use any trap, you can special summon him from the hand, which is poggers as hell. We get the Starfire summon and the Arlekino. A nice little double dip, and usually with Starfire you want to grab Caspar because he can get you another spell from your deck. Or actually any Musketeer card, but I'm going to pick up Cross-Dom because it just negates anything. But once you have this setup, it's unplayable for opponent because as you can see, Arlekino can floodgate on summon. If he has any follow monsters, we have Cross-Dom, which can also search us Desperado. And then when your turn comes around, Arlekino pushes for the extra damage, and he has that additional destruction effect where you can banish any Amazement trap from your grave to destroy cards on the field. I don't know about you guys, but one of the decks I hate facing the most is Numerons, where they just summon 4 gates and attack you until you die. Anyways, forgive me for what I'm about to do to this man. He's gonna scrap my battle phase, goes Pathfinder to try to get his field spell, but I'm gonna negate that. He's gonna droplet my guy, which won't stop the fact that his Pathfinder's negated, but I'm actually gonna negate his droplet because I want my Kidbrave effect to draw me some cards. So after all that's said and done, I can also summon my Arlekino. And then Kidbrave's effect is I get to discard any Musketeer card from my hand to draw 2 cards. Poggers picks me up a nice Feather Duster and a Last Stand. Guy still tries to pop his Planet Pathfinder, but it's negated. Dude, Kaiju's Arlekino, like, yeah, thanks for giving me plus 100 attack. It just feels so good, man, like, shutting down every Planet Pathfinder this guy tries. And you know, I've had enough of this guy. I've had enough. But it feels good. Like, this guy was running so much counterplay that all he did this duel was counterplay, and he has nothing at the end. Nothing to show for it. So you know what? I'm gonna take my sweet time here. Instead of going for game, I'm actually just gonna go for my Zeus. Miss Lethal? I don't care. I gotta get that extra BM in. Nah, I'm just kidding. Like, I had an Xyz quest, so I need to finish it for the gems. Hehehe. Hehe. Oh, and you know, I also had a Link quest, so you know, I need to get that for the gems too. So Pliss no report for slow play. Yup. Oh, and I also had a Zeus effect quest too, so before this attack, I'm just kidding. But yeah, he didn't get to play Numeron Gate or whatever, but I checked after it is Numerons. But anyways guys, thanks for watching. Before I head out, I really do have to tell you something important. Something that's been on my mind for the past few days, and that is